And then the lady that came to see me in the wheelchair, I don't know if it was Omaha or Des Moines. And then the couple that comes whose wife passed away. And it just got me thinking about cancel culture. It got me thinking about people always are asking comedians, are we afraid to say certain things about certain people? And it just reiterated that, man, if something's wrong with you, or if something happened to me, if I end up missing a limb, I'm like, man, people better make fun of me. My friends better give me shit about it. They better call me peg leg or one arm or no teeth, whatever. And I think people that are going through stuff like that, they want you to acknowledge that they're different, but they don't want to be treated different. But they want to acknowledge, yeah, I see you're in a wheelchair. I see you're not going to beat me in a 100-yard dash. I see this is not going to happen. And it's okay to make fun of them as long as there's no malicious intent. And I think I just needed to see it and to talk shit to that guy in the wheelchair about the Chiefs and Bengals and things like that. And it was funny because I saw that guy laugh at him the whole show too, like where he was sitting in the disabled section, and I could see him out of the corner of my eye. And I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he's come to see me in the past. Because you do so many shows, and sometimes you're like, have I met this person? Have I seen this person? And I felt like I've seen him before, and he's come to my shows in the past. But it just reminded me, because I got in trouble a few years ago because I had a special needs joke about my cousin Tina, and I went through a lot of shit because I said the R word in one of my specials, and so many people got mad. But then I was like, but my cousin didn't get mad. And I go, even in my joke, there was no malicious intent. I wasn't making fun of them as far as like punching down with my material. It was really something that happened with my cousin and me, because if you hadn't heard the joke, basically the joke is, I got a special needs cousin. Her name's Tina. We was at a family reunion. Tina got an STD. And we was all like, the whole family was like, it was the big secret. Tina got STD. Tina got STD. And I was like, Tina's having sex? I was like, that to me was the bigger like, whoa, Tina's having sex. And I was so happy. I was like, okay, she's living. And then I was like, well, who gave her the STD? And then I was like, because her dude was a special needs dude. That was her boyfriend. So I was like, he must have gave it to her because she was dating the same guy for a long time. And so I was like, oh. And then the joke is like, I was more like, oh my God, Tina's having sex. And then I said, how do they be talking smack to each other in the bedroom is the gist of the joke. But anyways, I think we're just getting to a point where cancel culture is about to go away. Especially for comedians. I feel bad for athletes or politicians or somebody in corporate America that can't just say a dirty joke or a bad joke, and if it gets out, then they could lose their job. But comedians, I don't think we can lose endorsements, but I don't think we're losing jobs anymore. I think people are they're fed up. They really want to make the uncomfortable comfortable. And it's funny because people put personal agendas on comedians and their jokes. Like, if we say something and that is something you're going through, like we say something about a blind person and you're blind, you think, oh, he's making fun of me. No. I'm just making an observation about blind people, that some blind people do some funny stuff, or things happen to blind people that wouldn't happen to other people. There was an old stock joke about how does a blind guy, if a blind guy skydives, how does he know when to pull the cord? It's when the dog's leash gives way. It was such an old stock joke I heard in the beginning of my career, but I was like, that's a stock blind joke. That if you was to tell that nowadays, there's probably people that aren't blind that would get mad that you told a joke about a blind person. That's the funny part to me. Most of the times, it's not the people you're talking about. It's people that aren't those people that are trying to advocate for those people. It was like one time, Tracy Morgan had a show on Comedy Central. I can't remember what it was called. But I did it. This was like 20-some years ago. And I just remember when I got on the phone with the people at Comedy Central, I had an Asian joke. And I just remember the lady on the phone. It was so awkward because stand-ups, man, it's all about the delivery. You feed off the audience's energy. And for this particular show, it was an ensemble show. Tracy was hosting. He was bringing up like 3-4 comics. It was for 30 minutes on the show. And it was just like we had to submit our material written, and then they read it back to us, which is awkward in itself. And then I remember I was on the phone, and they're literally reading my jokes word for word back to me. And I was like, oh, this doesn't sound funny with them reading it to me. It had me second guessing my material. And then one lady goes, well, I see you got an Asian joke here, and I'm Asian. So, and I was on the phone like, what's that got to do with anything? It was like she was putting her own little personal agenda or personal, like, I don't know, what she thought was biases and putting it on me. And I was going, why'd you even tell me you were Asian? I didn't get that. Well, I just want you to know, I see you have an Asian joke, and I'm Asian. I'll never forget that phone call as long as I live. There was like 4 women on the phone with me talking, and the one girl had to make it a point to let me know that she's Asian. I was like, okay. Well, I mean, I don't know what you want me to do. Not do the joke? Whatever. So anyways, I'm glad. I think we're getting past that. I really do. I really like the direction stand-up's going right now. We're almost taking our power back from people now. I loved when I saw Dana White on Theo Von's podcast, and he had said Peloton, and I love Peloton. I got one. I'm not trying to say people don't ride Pelotons, but Peloton tried to tell Theo Von, don't say something about something, or they're not going to run ads on his podcast. They were pulling their ads off Theo Von's podcast because Theo Von said something that the head guy at Peloton didn't agree with. And Dana White goes, what? What? Oh, okay. A stationary bike company is trying to tell you what you're allowed to talk about on your podcast? He goes, I'm pulling Pelotons out of all UFC gyms. He pulled them. He took Pelotons out of all the UFC gyms and put in some other new bike. And I was like, that's a power move. But I was just like, I don't know. I love the fact that Dana White is like that. How he's like, nah, anything goes.